My name is Jacqueline Bush, and I am an editorial and celebrity hairstylist. My clientele has included Faith Hill, Mark Ruffalo, Terrence Howard, Gwyneth Paltrow, Jane Krakowski. I want to be able to show you that hair isn't as intimidating or as hard as you think it is, and I want you to be able to have fun with it and do what your vision is with your hair. So this is one of my favorite topics. I talk about this all the time, how to deal with fine hair. I have fine hair. You might think, how do I have fine hair? It looks like I have a lot of hair. How do I get my hair to stand up like that? Because a lot of times fine hair falls very flat, and that's the issue with fine hair. First of all, I need to explain something just to get this confusion out of the way. Hair can be fine, medium textured, or coarse textured. Now, those three textures have nothing to do with the amount of hair, the density of hair that's on your scalp. So for example, I have fine hair, but I also have thick hair. You can have fine hair and also have thin hair. You can have medium textured hair and have thin hair, or you can have medium textured hair and have a lot of hair. Okay, so a lot of times people think I have fine hair, I don't have a lot of hair. That's not necessarily true. So, the first thing that's important with fine hair is when you go in to get your hair cut, texturizing is very, very important. There are different techniques that your stylist can use, from slide cutting to point cutting to using a razor to using thinning shears. There's all kinds of techniques you can use. Fine hair needs a lot of that if it's thick fine hair. If you have thin fine hair, this is a different issue. You still might want to point cut into it, but you might not want a lot of layers. This depends on the length of your hair. Because what you don't want your hair to do is to all of a sudden look even thinner than it is if your hairs are already fine and thin. The other thing I want to talk about is product usage. People ask me all the time, how do I get volume on fine hair? And one of the challenges, not problems, challenges, because it's easily solved with fine hair, is how to get that volume. Fine hair wants to fall very flat and it wants to collapse together, which is why it can look like you don't have a lot of hair oftentimes. So there's a lot of illuminizing products and conditioners that work well for fine hair. The reason I say still use a conditioner on fine hair, but a light one, is because it's important to have the right pH balance for your hair to give it the right amount of volume. All this matters when you're trying to get a certain goal of how you want your hair to look. I love using gel. I love using hairspray, and in my clips I show you how to get volume using gels and hairsprays. I love using pomades. The key is not to have anything too heavy, but at the same time use enough product that you can still get lift without having your hair fall flat. So I like to keep a rule of a little hairspray with a blow dryer, some gel, and a little pomade gets me the direction I want to go. So one of the product brands that I love that I'm using right now is the Rene Furterer styling line. They make a volumizing shampoo and conditioner, and both are light enough that you can use it every day, and it still gives your hair enough lift and enough condition to keep your hair in the proper condition. I also love using their gel and their hairspray, along with they have a shine wax and a paste, both of which I use. The key with my hair, for example, what I do to myself to get the volume, I put in a little gel, I put in a little pomade, I blow dry that baby straight up, then I spray in a little hairspray and I stick the blow dryer on it again, and then I add a little more pomade because my hair eats product and it wants to collapse. Doing that gives me the volume I need, and you too could have that if you have fine hair.